What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here at GSD Studios. First off, thank you so much for checking out today's content. I'll make this extremely fast, but I need to plug our sponsors that make this show possible. Our first sponsor is PerfectStormNow.com, by far the most effective and affordable real estate agent website and database platform in the industry. It is the system I use to sell 50 plus homes every single month. Check it out at www.perfectstormnow.com. Our second sponsor is my personal 90-day mastery bootcamp, which is, again, my personal real estate agent mentorship program where we spend 90 days together, 12 live sessions. You get daily access to me inside the program. You guys, we go so extremely in-depth. There's nothing that's incomplete about this program. You're going to get all the tools that you need to go out there and crush it inside your real estate business. Make sure to go check us out, www.90daymastery.com. You can watch in-depth videos of exactly what's covered to see if the program is for you. See all the raving testimonials we have from all of the amazing agents and clients that went through the program. So make sure to check us out, www.90daymastery.com. All right, you guys, let's jump on into today's content. What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD mode interview. Every single week, we interview top entrepreneurs and just straight up top badasses out there dominating their spaces. They're people choosing to not live a life of mediocrity, but instead to go out there and create big, amazing, epic lives for themselves and for their families. So today, you guys, we've got a very successful entrepreneur on the show, a young, driven hustler, which I always love having on the show. Which I know you guys do as well, because there's a lot of you are out there young and just getting started. So our guest today, you guys, is a financial advisor, and not just a financial advisor, 3-year, 3-time $1 Million Roundtable Award winner. So he's created massive success in that space for again, himself, as well as he just recently started his own insurance business as well. So now he's operating multiple companies, and at a young age. I mean, I think, Jordan, you're 27 years old, right?
27, yeah.
27 years old. So I mean, most people are still, pretending like they're in college at 27 years old, right? So yeah, really stoked to have our guest on and dive on in. So Jordan Toma, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks, man. Thanks a lot. I'm excited.
Yeah, dude. So before we jump into really what you're doing and some of your new ventures today, I mean, how did this journey begin? Because again, at 27 years old, it's like for most people, you get out of high school, you go to college, when you're done with college, 22, 23, and you're still, it just seems like a lot of our 20s are just trying to figure it out. And then a lot of people's 30s, then are kind of, hopefully they've got somewhat figured out, but that's kind of those focused years. And then it's in their 40s where they really start to make it, right? But you seem to have really kind of got laser focused early on. So walk us through your journey, dude. Like if we run the clocks, like how did all this begin in the first place?
All right. So it's kind of weird. It kind of just happened just by really just kind of falling into it. But so I went to a small school in New Jersey. I was a psychology major. I wanted to be a psych major because I wanted to figure out, what was wrong with me, and that was that's a good thing to do. So I wanted to be a psych major. I wanted to go out and help, kids like me. I grew up in, a small town, went to high school there, went to a small college, and I really just wanted to kind of figure myself out. So I figured, why not? Let's be a psych major. And I went through college, had a lot of fun, and I graduated in 2012, and I had no idea what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to be a psychologist. So I ended up getting into grad school in New York City. And because I needed a master's to kind of do what I wanted to do. And I remember I got in, and I was excited I got in because I wasn't getting into a lot of schools to begin with. So I got into this one school, and I got in, and I was so happy. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go. And I remember I took the train to New York. I went into the orientation. I sat there, and I was just sitting there. I'm like, you know what? I can't go back to school. I got to work. So I came home. I just bailed on that, going back to school, and I applied to this job to sell windows, really. It was a window door sale, sell windows door to door. So I was like, all right. So I went to the interview, went in there. The guy gave me the interview. I got the job. And I remember I was really hesitant on taking that first, to, hey, listen, I'm going to start selling windows. Let's do it. So I went back home and I was talking to my parents and stuff. My dad was like, yeah, I don't know. And I really didn't know. And I remember that day I went to the gym. And there was this old dude in the locker room, and I was sitting there. I always think like old people like kind of like have wisdom, even though just because they've been on this earth for a long time. So I'm like, I'm just gonna ask this guy what he thinks. So I asked this random old guy. I was like, hey, I got this job. I'm gonna sell windows. I gave him the pay structure. He's like, yeah, man, I think you should do it. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to do it. So as soon as that guy said, I called up the guy that interviewed me. I was like, listen, man, I'll take the job. Like, when can I start? He's like, all right, come on in. So I went in there. So I told myself, I said, if I'm going to sell windows, I'm going to sell the most windows in the whole company. I'm not going in there not to sell a lot of windows. But I thought it was like a sales job, like where I go on someone's house and sell windows. I had no idea what was going on. Then I realized it was door to door. So my first day, they're like, all right, Jordan, meet us in the room, and we're gonna pump you up. We're gonna show you how this works. I'm like, all right. So you go into a room, dude, and it's like a big board, right? And there's all these young guys out of college, and we're all sitting there in our polo shirts, and it has all the sales everyone had from yesterday. And everyone's like cheering for everybody that had a good day. And if you got a 0, they were like kind of laughing at you and asking you, like, and they asked you for everybody what happened, and you got to explain yourself because it makes no sense to have a 0. You're out there all day long. And I was just getting so pumped up, and I kept looking like who the number 1 guy is. It was the same guy every week. And I looked at him, like, I gotta beat him. That's it. I just focused on him. And I remember the first day they let me free. I realized everybody was walking to the houses, so I just started jogging. So I would jog to every house, and I would ring the doorbell. And it's not like you sell the windows; you sell the appointment to sell the windows. So you have to get them to come out. You gotta knock on their door. They have no idea who you are. You gotta get them to come out the front door, explain to you how old their windows are, set up an appointment for their wife or their husband to be there the exact time. Then I have to put them on the phone with a coordinator, and they have to agree to the time with the coordinator in a matter of like 9 minutes, and then before they shut the door on you. So I started running to every single door. On my first day, I set up 6 appointments. They only expect you to get like 1 or 2 a day. I did 6 in my first day ever, and I felt like so good, and I just got addicted to that feeling. And I just kept doing it. I would run and run. Everyone just thought it was crazy. And I would just run to every single house. We would start around 1 o'clock in the afternoon until 8 o'clock at night. And I would just do that. And I just would just sell a bunch of appointments for selling windows. And I didn't do it in about 2 seconds. And it really taught me everything in the beginning. Yeah, so that was really the beginning of my like sales journey right there.
Yeah, I love it, dude. Now it sounds to me though, like at that point, you weren't necessarily money motivated. You were just massively competitive. And I see the basketball in the hand too, you know, right? Like did you, I mean, where did that come from, man? Have you always been like this massively competitive guy, or did that come from sports, you know, early on in life, or like where did that competitive drive initially come from?
Well, I used to wrestle, but that's not really why. I think what really is competitive for me is because growing up, I had a tough time in school. I have learning disabilities. And I was always, always felt, kind of more just like, I felt like I was like the lower class. I just felt like, sometimes these things were said and, I just my confidence was very low. I was still, I was a decent wrestler, I was all right wrestler, but it was more, I think my confidence was really low going through school. Had a real rough time. And I think I had so much to prove after I figured out that, sometimes, it's not everyone's good at school, good at taking tests or all those things, but maybe I was good at, talking to people and having fun with people and being friends with people and connecting with them. And I think I was just trying to prove so much to myself, something I was good at. And I think that just made me kind of just, because I felt like I sold myself short for the past 18 years. And I really wanted to prove to myself that I can really do something.
Yeah, I love it. Well, it just goes to show, dude, that, and people use this as this limiting belief, but it's like, doesn't matter your IQ, doesn't matter, what your grades were, doesn't matter where you went to school, man, it's all just comes down to that work ethic, that hustle, that grit. And anybody that has that, very few do. I guess everybody has it within them. Very few people choose to ignite that fire, right?
Never.
So, yeah, exactly. Right. So how long did this job go on? How long were you just pounding the pavement on these doors?
So I was doing this for so now I got to the point where I was like, man, I was like, every day I won. Every day I won. Every day. No one in the office ever beat me. I would get 5 sales before anyone got 1. And then I would help everyone else on the team get the rest of them. So I was like really feeling it. It was really good. And this for 6 months. So I'm 6 months and it's getting to the cold. It's cold weather. I had one guy, it was getting rough. I rang the door. The guy, got in like a stance and he's going to come after me. And his wife, I remember bear hugged him and held him. And I was just like standing there like this. I'm like, dude, I'm just doing my job. And I was like, wow, this is getting crazy. So so after like 6 months, they're like, all right, Jordan, we're going to let you go into another sales position. And this is where you're going to go into the home. And then you're going to actually now sell these products to the client. I said, all right, I'll give it a shot. So it was a big training process. I'm going through the training process. And I remember I came home one night and I was talking to my dad about it. My dad's like, I told my dad what I was doing. I talked to him about getting into the insurance world, the financial world. And he's like, yeah, stay where you're at. The financial world's not really what it used to be anymore. It's too hard. It's too hard. And I was like, I didn't like that he said that. So I was like, all right. I kind of took it, but I took like a step back. I kind of listened to him and I went back to the training. And then I was like, you know what? I can't be selling windows my whole life. And I'd rather get into a different world. So I just said, I walked in there. I said, I quit. I'm going to go try get in the financial world. So I told my dad I'm doing it. And that's when I just changed up everything. I just got to, so my dad was in the business, right? But not what I do. He was he was a manager. So he was on a completely different role, but he knew the business. So so that's what I did. I just changed around and said, listen, I'm going to do it. And I took a chance to go into a different type of world, and not for money, just because I just was kind of getting to the point where I didn't feel like I can grow anymore with what I was doing. I felt like I was a caged animal, doing that.
Yep. Love it, dude. So what was that transition like, right? Into the financial world from coming from what you did, or what was that transition like? And then what did you do to go out there and create that initial success? Because I mean, maybe you're still pounding on doors, I don't know, right? Like, just kind of walk us through that transition.
All right. So as soon as I realized what I was going to do, right? So when you're selling like windows or selling something tangible, it's different, right? It's more the person is excited. So I got to the financial world. I realized, it's not tangible. Selling things that aren't tangible, things that if you die, you don't even get them. The people that when you die, the people get them that you don't even know if they get them. You have no idea what's going to happen. And then those are the things that I was selling. But I realized that if I could sell windows door to door, I can sell these financial products face to face, with more emotion, a lot better. I knew I could do it. I knew nothing was going to be as hard as door to door. So I was kind of ready for anything. And I was ready for the grinding and the door to door and just the abuse that I took at every door. I mean, I'm there all day. I was getting killed out there. And I knew it wasn't going to be as bad, but I knew I had to put the same effort in towards this job. And I knew if I came in with the same mindset, I was going to be able just to adapt and just, try to be at the top of this world too. Because at the end of the day, it's people, we're people. So it's not like selling windows, selling cars, selling homes, selling life insurance, whatever it is. It's still people. It's still a connection. So I knew I just kept the same connection, the same work ethic. I kind of rise to the top as well. So that's really what I did. I just kept the same pace, the same mindset. The only thing that I think I did differently is that I came back from I was kind of really aggressive with those windows and those door-to-door sales. I think I stepped back a little bit, and I asked more questions, and I was a lot slower in my process. But really, it was pretty much I took the same speed, and I just kind of put it in a different direction with this business.
Yeah. So quick question going back to the door-to-door, dude, because a lot of our listeners are in the real estate space, right? So, and door knocking is huge in real estate. But very few people don't like to do it because they're like, oh, well, man, I went out there and knocked on 50 doors and, I didn't get an appointment. Like, they don't understand the massive amount of frequency and action that it takes. Like, how many doors would you hit in a day? Dude. And then how many no's to get a yes?
Dude, I would do it from 1 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night. I probably would hit I was running, man. I was sweating.
Yeah.
I was doing I held my clipboard like a football, I was doing I might have been knocking on 200, 300 doors. I mean, the thing is, you got to get warmed up. You take the abuse, you get beat up. Then after you get 30, 40 no's in a row, you don't even feel it anymore. And then you learn this thing I learned at the door. You have to dead ear everybody. So dead ear means that they say no, but you don't even hear the no. You just ask them again. We're going to be here anyway. We're giving free estimates. And you just keep going. And that's what I would do. I would always dead ear what they would say. And I literally it would look so convincing that I didn't hear them. And I asked them with a straight face again. And then you wouldn't believe it. Sometimes they would just sign up after they said no 4 times. So I learned to just do that and be persistent, but you got to take a beating before you get anything. And it might be all day long till 7 o'clock at night, but then I would get my 5 from 7 to 8. It would come through. It always comes through. So it's literally you have to be able to use every second, every door knock every second. So everything adds up. So if you take a break, some of the guys take a break and get lunch. I would just have a protein bar in my pocket. I eat it. Somebody'd be melting in my pocket. And I just keep going. I didn't want to lose those seconds,
Yeah.
It just takes a lot. It's just a lot of work.
Yep. Yeah. So when you're getting those no's, right? When somebody says no, I know you're not, I mean, you're saying you're not hearing it, meaning you're not listening to them, but are you, if somebody says no, are you then consciously switching up your pitch? Because maybe they're just saying no to how you're pitching it, right? They're like, oh, I don't need new windows. And you're like, well, I know you don't think that you need new windows, but this seal, if this continues happening, your AC bill is going to go up to X. Or, I mean, did you kind of consciously use those no's to just realize, okay, now I got to segue into a new script to resell this value because this other script wasn't working?
Exactly. Yeah. So they would say no, right? No, I don't want new windows. I said, okay, but how old are these windows? They're 30 years old. Oh, they're 30 years old. All right. Well, guess what? We're going to be here anyway. So get the estimate guaranteed for a year. Stick it on your pillow. Hold on to it. In a year from now, you can still guarantee that price. The rates are going up. So I would switch to something like that. Like it's just an estimate, or it's just something that, in a way where, we're not going to come in. You don't have to buy anything. But if you like it, you can buy it. But we got to come in and we got to show you what we can do. And you can at least lock it in. So I kind of go around that way, or we're going to be here anyway. I would just kind of, go around what they said. They said they don't want windows. That's okay. They don't have to get windows, but let us come in and check it out.
Yeah. Yeah. So then, I mean, so many people, and I love that you just said it really boils down to just a numbers game, right? And so many people that get in sales have such a fear of rejection, dude. And, and that just blows my mind, because it's like, to have success in sales, you have to get rejected exponentially more than anybody's ever going to say yes. Like, you might have to hear 97 no's to get that yes. But when you were doing this, man, I mean, did you go through, read any books or take any training, or do you feel like maybe your psychology background kind of helped prep you for this so you could handle that rejection? Because so many people suffer with that fear of rejection.
Yeah. You know what I would do? This was 2012. So what I would do is, when you go into a sales job, and this is for any type of sale, it doesn't matter. You have to have this mental mindset where everything ricochets off you. Nothing matters. You have a goal and you have to hit that goal and do whatever it takes. It doesn't matter. Who cares what goes down? If it's raining, it's snowing. You got 10 no's yesterday. You have 10. Your business is falling off. Whatever. You have to fill up that pipeline and keep going. So what I would do every morning, I wake up really early and I have a lot of energy. So I would wake up. I didn't have to be at work until 11. But I'd wake up around 5 o'clock and I played this. He passed away, but his name was Greg Plitt. He had some great motivational videos, right? I'd watch them every morning on YouTube. I memorized them all. I still memorize them all. And I think I got brainwashed by what he was saying, but it was good stuff. My mom was like, Jordan, you're listening to some cult. What are you doing? You're losing your mind? Because my mom was like, Jordan, you look tired. It's like, I'm not tired. You look tired. I'm not tired. Nothing. I was like, I wasn't tired. It just made me almost like bulletproof to anything. So I think that's really what helped me a lot. And when I would listen to him, I would go work out and I would get to the office and I'd be ready to go in fifth year, and everyone was just waking up, drinking their coffee. And it just mentally prepared me for the day. And I said, listen, I don't care how many no's I get. I don't care how many people try to attack me. I don't care how many doors get slammed in my face. I'm getting the number I want to get. And I'm going to be enthusiastic every single time I ring that doorbell.
Yep.
And that was it going into it.
Love it, dude. So then now, okay, good. Now you transition into this different space. And the one thing that you said is, a lot of the tactics that you did were the same, other than you learned to, I don't know if the answers be less aggressive, or maybe just slow down a little bit to ask more in-depth questions. Do you feel that learning to slow down slightly and asking those right questions to find out people's motivation, has been extremely helpful?
Yes. Yeah. So how with anything, the less that you really speak, if you're trying to sell something, the more questions you ask, you'll figure out the answer, and then they pretty much sell itself. So I learned that just asking the right questions and being patient and kind of just, looking at each person, right? So when I switched to this role, it's a different story than selling windows. Every person I sat down with, every single person, I looked at them. I said, all right, this is my mom, this is my dad, this is my grandma. How would I want to speak to them? How would I want someone to speak to my parents? I literally come in with that mindset, and that's what I would do. And that helped me kind of change the way I looked at the situation. It really helped me a lot.
So then what are you doing now to prospect for new clients? Right? What's your prospecting tactics look like on a daily basis, and how much of your time is still focused on new prospecting?
All right. So what I do, I see about three people a day throughout my day, right? But throughout that day, I'm making phone calls between my appointments until 9 o'clock at night. So really, I'm hitting the phone more harder than I was hitting the doorbells. And I'm also I send out letters. So I'll send out letters regarding, for what I do to the surrounding towns where I live, and even New York City. I'll send them all over the place. But I send out letters, so my letters are working for me. And then I have my clients that I have already that I send out, thank you letters, things like that. So they always see myself, see my name in front of them, Mother's Day cards, Father's Day cards, all those things. So I'm constantly touching them. And then I also just call a ton of people. I mean, I keep everything in my car. So I know it's dangerous. Hopefully one day I can afford to get a driver, and so I can make calls while I drive, but I call while I'm driving. I literally use up every second to make calls. If I'm not making calls, I'm in the house.
Yeah.
That's about it. That's what I do.
So it's no different than, sprinting in between houses, carrying
No, my fingers are like insane. I memorized the keyboard, it doesn't matter.
Yep. I love it, dude. I mean, because so many people, they say they want success, but they don't understand the amount of action that it takes. And, you hear sayings or stats like, oh, the average entrepreneur fails because of lack of capital. I'm like, dude, that's total bullshit. The average entrepreneur fails because they didn't take the action required to truly succeed.
It's true. And really, it just comes down to like, everyone has bad days, man. I have bad days. We all have bad days, bad weeks, bad months. But every single time, when I'm having a bad day, I'm having a bad week, bad month, I literally stay the same pace, and I know I'm going to break through. I know I'm going to break through that storm. I literally just run to the light. Like, I just keep going, and I know it's going to get better. And I've had long ones. I've had 2 months where I couldn't believe how long it was going to be. But if you just keep keeping the same pace the entire time, no matter what you're doing, just stay positive and keep that same pace, you break through every time. And you literally come back 10 times better. Like, I'll be way below, and all of a sudden that in 2 months, I'm like 4 times ahead. It's really awesome how it works.
Yeah. Yeah. I know people are like, dude, how do you overcome those negative, thoughts or whatever? I'm like, dude, if you keep yourself so damn busy, you don't even have time to formulate those thoughts.
Don't.
Yeah, right. I mean, you just keep pushing, you stay busy and you just keep that grind going, man. I love it, dude. So, it's funny because I know, in your line of work, you sell a lot of life insurance, and I actually do want to, not quite yet in the podcast, but I do want to talk to you about that because I think it's something that's so ungodly critical that people never really want to face that reality, right? But man, I've seen so many families get crushed because an accident happens and they're not prepared, and maybe it's the husband who is the breadwinner, and so we'll get into that, right? But it's funny because in real estate, I always tell people, like my real estate company, my agents, like, look, guys, we're selling a product that, like, when you go to a party, everybody's talking about real estate, right? Like, it's the thing that everybody wants to talk about, right? But I always use the analogy. I'm like, it's not like we're selling life insurance. We have to talk about death. That's something that nobody wants to talk about.
You got that right.
So you're also, I mean, that's a very difficult product because again, people just don't want to think about it, right? If I don't think about it, it doesn't exist and whatever, and they're just delusional, and then boom, it's too late. So how are you successful at selling, things like that people just don't really want to talk about?
When it comes to that, like, it's really important to me. So I believe in my mind, this helps me do it, that, I'm like a superhero, and it's like my cape, and I'm going out there, I'm protecting all the families, with life insurance. Like, at the end of the year, I want to look up and see, all right, I have 30 million in place, throughout the year. I put $30 million of life insurance up in there, and then if someone passed away, all those families are protected. So when I go in there, I'm so immune to the situation and to actually people, that do die. We're all going to die. And when I talk about it, I talk to them, in a real way. Like, if something happens to this person, if something happens to you, that's it. It's over. You can't come back and say, this is what I want to do for my family. And then I just really kind of make it seem as real as possible, because it is real. It's not 90-year-olds that are dying every day. And I just, connect with them, as a family, and just speak to them. And I just literally, no matter what, if they're making, I have clients that are making $25,000 a year to $1 million a year, I talk to them the same way as I'm talking to anybody. There's no difference. Life insurance is life insurance. There's no discrimination. And I just, I think that I just connect with them in a way just to talk how real it is, and they can visualize how real the situation is with one of them gone, and it just makes it a lot easier for them to just kind of let loose and really think about it. If I do lose this person, I lose this income. There's no other option. I need this, and it's not like it's expensive,
Right.
and it's very affordable for everyone on earth. So it's just the fact of getting them comfortable with it and understanding what it's going to do if something does happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it, dude. Yeah, man. I mean, I was shocked, right? Especially if you invest, when you're young and you're healthy. And it's like these policies last for a long time, right? So if you do it, like you said, it is very affordable, and, we got to take care of our families. Right. And also do just the peace of mind.
Exactly.
Right? Like, I mean, for me, man, it's just, there are certain things that I do that just help me sleep well at night. And having a great, life insurance policy in place is definitely one of those things. But when I talk to a lot of people about life insurance, just an example, because I just want to stay here for a minute because I think it's something so important, and a lot of people just don't think about it or do it or take action on until it's way too late. Because everybody, like when people think about, what's that figure that I need to have retire? And it's like everybody wants to make $100,000 a year because they think making $100,000 a year is super sexy, until you make $100,000 a year and you're like, crap, I'm still broke. Like I didn't start feeling like I had money or a little bit of money until I started making, like $30,000 a month, right? When I started making that, I was like, okay, now I can somewhat live the lifestyle I want. And I'm also to save and invest and do some things. But just like a lot of people are like, if I had $1 million, I'd be set. Dude, $1 million, you can't do crap with $1 million anymore.
No.
Right. So how do people, if life insurance is something that they want, because I mean, everybody that's listening to this is an entrepreneur, right. So it's up to them to set this up. How do you calculate like what enough is for your family to make sure they're protected just in case that happens?
So yeah, it's a good question. So really with that, it's really hard because most people try to say, okay, if I die, my wife, my husband will be married, he'll be okay. Everyone's going to be okay until that actually happens. They have no idea what's going to happen. So no one really knows how much you really need. So I learned, I mean, $1 million round table, I meet a lot of guys, and we discuss. And I asked these questions just like you said, and I took a great analogy from somebody, and this is what I use. And you look at somebody, okay, you look at their income, right? Like what they say, what's your greatest asset, right? People usually say my house, my 401k, right? But really your greatest asset is your ability to earn income, your ability to get up and work and make money. You're a money machine. So you ask them, you say, hey, listen, if there's a money machine in the corner of your kitchen, every month that check came out for 10 grand, 20 grand, no matter what, you got that check, right? Every month. But they said, all right, for $180 a month, if that machine breaks and that check starts coming out, would you pay for the $180 the insurance so they'll fix it and they'll just keep coming out again? And they're like, yeah, for sure. And so that's the same thing. Your life, you're the money machine. That's you. So it's you're the machine. So you have to insure that, because now you look at it and say, okay, that's your monthly check, right? Say it's $50,000 a year, right? Someone makes $50,000 a year. In 20 years, that's $1 million of income. That's only $1 million. They're making $50,000 a year in 20 years. $1 million. That's just $1 million. So they minimum right there for the next 20 years to replace that income is $1 million. So I look at their income and what they're bringing in and what would take care of their family, as so they can be self-sufficient. And then I look at their debt and things like that. But the first thing I always look at is their income, because that's what I'm trying to replace first, so there's no devastation when something does happen.
Yeah. So I mean, really, the goal is that way. You're like, okay, with me being a guy, right. The goal for me would be where my wife and my kids could sustain the same quality of lifestyle. Right. And I look at it twofold, right? I want my wife to, because we've got 3 young kids. I want the lifestyle to be sustained where she wouldn't have to work until the kids are X age, right? But then I want her still to be taken care of even after that fact, right? And those are all those things you got to factor in. What are things that a lot of people don't factor in though, right? Like, because you got to take into consideration inflation, you got to take in consideration, death taxes and things like that. Like what are a lot of things that you see that people don't factor in, that you see just being a big mistake when they're looking at this?
Well, people don't factor in. They always say, we'll sell the home. Don't worry about it. We don't need to cover the home. We'll sell it. They use that. They justify why they can take off a little off the top there.
But then where's everybody going to live?
Exactly. We'll sell the home. She'll downsize. He'll downsize, whatever. But they also don't factor in things like this. Like you have a daughter. She's going to have a wedding, right? She's going to have a wedding one day. Maybe you have two daughters. That's two weddings. Right? You want to be there to take care of your daughter's wedding. Then maybe you have a son, right? He's going to get a car. Your daughter's going to get a car too. There's cars you have to buy. There's so much as the kids get older. You're going to have to be there for this. There's daycare. Like if one of you are gone, maybe you need daycare. You got to go back. Someone has to go to work, right? Someone has to go back to work maybe. So there has to be some kind of daycare covered. There's a lot of things that they don't think of. And they think, they always kind of say, because no one really thinks they're going to die. So you got to bring it into perspective and say, hey, listen, all these things can happen. So all these things have to be covered. So I think the biggest thing, people just don't really factor in the mortgage, and they don't factor in like the life that's supposed to happen as their kids get older. Like the things that they, high school, maybe they want to go to a private school. Maybe there's colleges that that they want to make sure that they're debt free. How many parents probably wish they can pay for their kids' college? They don't come out of college with $100,000 in debt with a 12% interest rate. So all those things come in. They don't really think about it. And that all comes back to your income. That if you were here, maybe you could provide that, but to replace everything, we got to look at every situation.
Yeah. Or like in my situation where my wife stays at home with the kids, like, my mind's always, well, if I die, but then, I also think, well, what if something happened to my wife?
Exactly.
Right? Because I'm able to go grind 16-hour days because she's at home with the kids. So either I'd have to be forced to work less, which would impact my income, or be able to afford help, whether it be a nanny or whatever else, so it becomes twofold there.
And that happens. Yeah, that happens. They say, cover me, I'm good. If she dies, I'll be okay. A lot of guys say that. But then you got to let them know what you just said. Well, how are you going to go to work? You're going to wake up and leave the house and your kids are 6 years old, they're still brushing their teeth? You can't do it. So it's that's one big thing too. They don't think about both lives.
Yep. So those that are selling those types of products that are trying to create success, that are maybe watching this right now, when you're in that sales portion, the close portion, if you will, is your job really just to ask those right questions to get the people thinking about this stuff? Is that a lot of your sales pitch, dude? Is that what you mean by just asking a ton of questions of like, hey, here's a list of the 18 questions that maybe they haven't thought about, and just really allowing them to self-discover the power of having this?
Exactly. Yeah. So when I'm in there, I'm really just making a friend. Just talking to them like I would with any of my friends, and I really treat them like family. And because I know, God forbid, when that happens, either they're gonna say, Jordan, that wasn't enough, or Jordan, thank you for bringing these up. And so I ask those questions, and I kind of bring it to light. So I make sure I leave it all on the table, even if they don't get the amount that we come up with. I still make sure I leave it on the table. So when I go to bed at night, I know I left it all on the table. So that's really what I do. I ask the questions. I ask them, if they're comfortable with this. If this person passes away, if this person, are you comfortable with this much, and that's it? I ask those types of questions, kind of just to weed out all the mist, and then we just come to a decision on what. Because at the end of the day, too, you have to figure out what they can afford as well. So the affordability does come into play, but the need usually overrides the affordability. And at the end of the day, people find money for what they want to spend it on.
Yeah,
it's important.
Yeah, well, it is so inexpensive that, like you said, people they have the money. The money exists. It's what's their priority. Like, dude, if people just cut out their damn Starbucks budget, they could afford a massive policy.
Oh yeah,
right?
They cut out going out to dinner every weekend for $200. It's a nice policy too.
Yeah. Yep. Love it. So, and I know that in the financial advisor role that you do a lot more than obviously just life insurance that we talked about, right? But then recently, I know that you recently decided to go open up an insurance company. Like what transitioned you or led you to starting that new venture?
So what I did was, I was having some success when I started. So I was like, I love this. It's fun. Have a great time. And so with the company where I work, there are books of business for sale. So when I first started working, I said, I'm going to do two things while I'm working. I'm going to save as much money as I can to buy, some real estate and rent it out, or get involved in that world, or I'm going to take this money and buy a book of business. So when the time came, I was ready for it. 2015. So I was only like 2 years in, 2.5 years in, 3 years. And this book came up for sale, and I negotiated. I had no idea what I was doing with this woman, and I got the business. I bought it from her, and I paid her, and we did it. We did the deal, and now I took over all of her clients, all of her existing clients, and I opened up an LLC. It's still within the company that I started with, but it's kind of like it's an LLC within it. So it's your own you have your own insurance company, but you still use the name of the big company. And so what I do is, so it's my own little insurance company, and with the benefits as well as, within the big company. And I just wanted to basically be on my own. I knew I had the tools and had the work ethic to grow. And I was scared, it was a big investment. It was a big choice in my life, but I didn't think about it. I just did it. So I think that's what helped a lot. I didn't really think much. I just paid her and everything just happened at once. I bought some desks and computers, and I just, my buddy Ryan, who you guys had on the show, actually found this office for me in a cool little town. And I just got in here and I hired my first employee right away, got him in here. I had no idea what I was doing, but I was just training him. I was hooking him up on payroll. I was hoping that every month we hit our numbers, I could pay him, but it worked out. And I just started. I wanted to be, self-sufficient on my own. I wanted to have like my clients, like my family, and I just love the idea of just working for myself and knowing if I work this hard, I'll be taken care of, this much. Like I'll get paid for what I'm worth, or I'll be able to just, be kind of just free. I was just free. I just felt so free opening up my own office and just hiring my own people, my own way, my own way of teaching people how to make calls and how many dials you actually really have to make, and a certain standard I have, So everyone I hire, man, the first thing I ask them, like, what time do you wake up? All right, if they say like 8 o'clock, I'm not even talking to them.
Yeah, I love it, man. So this I know it's under the same umbrella, and I don't know if you're allowed to say you're the company name you're not with or not. I know that there's a lot of restrictions in the financial advising world, but it's a massive company, right? Mm-hmm. Huge umbrella. I mean, they have real estate companies, financial advisor firms, auto insurance and other insurance companies, and probably a bazillion other things. I don't know how many companies fall under that umbrella. But this specific insurance company, this book of business that you purchased, is that more like, when I think of insurance, I'm thinking more of home insurance, auto insurance, maybe some that needs an umbrella policy, whatever. Is it specific to that?
Yeah, it's specific to that. It was more life clients, auto clients, and umbrellas and homeowners insurance.
Okay.
It was more of those clients.
Yep. So out of curiosity, man, like with your salespeople, right? So they got to wake up early, right? Yeah. With your energy and your focus, dude, I can't imagine that you would tolerate or want to have anybody that had an ounce of mediocrity inside them, right?
I lose my mind.
So when you hire these people, like, a new person, right? Like what does that onboarding process look like? And what are those expectations as far as pounding the pavement, prospecting? And, because I think that's one of the biggest things that stifles most salespeople's success is they were hustlers, right? But you can only hustle so hard. There's only one of you. So you eventually hit a capacity that they're unable to identify and train people that can operate at that same speed so they can continue duplicating that success.
So the biggest thing with me, right? So I talk to them. I'm like, listen, I'm only hiring superstars, man. I'm hiring the people that say, okay, your hours are from 11 to 7, but if you have to hit your number, you're staying till 9. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you're staying till 9. You're making calls on Saturday. You're doing whatever it takes. You can stay to 11 to 7. You can leave, but if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, you have no right leaving. And that's what the people that I want. I'll tell them, hey, listen, if you're gonna come in here, you think at 6:59 you start to close the desk, and get ready to leave, and you're kind of enjoying yourself, like, you don't even start. And so, I tell them, I say, and I'll lead by example, man. I'm right next to them. I'm hitting the phone just as hard as them. Like, I'm not letting up. Just because I hired them doesn't mean that I'm going to take a break. I'm like, all right, now I got 2 people, me and this guy. So we're doing double. So I need someone, I let them know I need someone that's an extension of me that can come in here just as motivated, just as hungry to just, to go out and get what's theirs, and that's what I let them know. And I tell them, say, listen, man, I need someone that's up early, that's, reading books, that's listening to these videos, that's not going out and saying, Jordan, I went out. And I understand you gotta have balance and stuff. It's one thing I don't really have much balance right now, but it's okay because I don't need the balance. I mean, I'm good. But I know like, even like, I have parents that say, Jordan, you need some balance. Yeah, not now though. I'm all right. So like, some people like kind of feel nervous when I talk to them about coming on. But the people that I know, when I tell them, I know they're still here. They're still gonna try. They understand. Like, they're not scared. So after I try to scare them, I'm not really trying to scare them. I'm just trying to be honest with them. And the fact that they just keep showing up is that I know they're ready to go. That's what I tell. They don't get scared, run away.
Yeah. No, I love it, dude, because I mean, yeah, you do want to scare them, right? Because I mean, you want to be able to identify because, dude, like if you bring in the wrong person, the amount of time, training, lost leads, right? I mean, it can be a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 mistake if you hire the wrong person, right? Even if you discover that early and you get them out in the first month or two, it's a massive setback, right? So yeah, because you're going to be able to see it, and either they're going to have like the deer in the headlights, or they're going to be like, hell yeah, sign me up. This is exactly what I want, man.
Exactly. If they're asking questions like, how hard is it? I'm like, dude, you should say, I hope it's hard. Don't ask me how hard it is. Say, I hope it's hard and I'm going to crush it. That's it. Everyone's going to be like, how did you do it?
Yeah.
So like, that's just not, if someone says like, yo, is it hard? I'm like, yo, man, you can't do it. I'm like, you can't do it. You're going to ask me that. You might as well just turn around, dude. But if they don't ask that, I'm happy. If they're ready to go and they pass their test and they're ready to go and they get in here, and I just let them know. I said, it's not easy. You're going to be on the phone. You're going to get rejected. It gets hot in here. The air conditioning stinks. But, loosen your tie, man. You got to keep going.
Yeah, I love that, dude. And I and my sales team, man, it's like, we have the minimum numbers. We have a minimum amount of outbound dials they have to do daily and weekly, and then an amount of weekly sales. So I tell them, if you don't hit your minimums, like this is your minimum to keep your job, right? Now, if you surpass this, that's where bonuses and other opportunities can come on. But if you don't hit your minimum, I'm going to give you two choices, right? You can either choose to be fired and end this opportunity here, or you can choose to not have me pay you for that week and work for free for that week and get your shit together, and then we enter the next week, right? But if you don't hit those numbers, boom, you're gone, right? So then what do you do to inspect what you expect, right? What do your systems look like internally? Because I know you're in the office grinding with them, but man, you're hitting it hard. You can kind of see what they're doing, but you're focused on your own stuff. What kind of systems do you have in place? And are you inspecting their numbers daily, weekly? What does that look like?
So what I have tractor calls. They track them, and also every phone call is recorded for a system that we have. So it records the phone calls, and it just tells you on the system how many calls they're making, and you can actually hear the phone calls, what they're saying. So I know everything. I know everything that's going on. So even when I'm not here, I can still see how many calls they're making. So because I'm out in people's homes a lot throughout the day and nighttime. So when I leave, they say, Jordan's gone, we're going to sit here and go on Instagram, or we're going to sit here and hit my numbers, and I don't know. And then, then that's it. Then I'll say, I know you made this many calls from this time frame. That means you weren't making calls, So that's how I track it.
Now, is that a system that the company that you're a part of provides, or like I use a system called 8x8, it's 8x8.com. That's very similar. Is it a separate system that you've purchased that you subscribe to?
No, it's the company for the auto insurance uses that system, so they let us use it. I pay for it, but they provide it.
Yep.
So they have it. I don't know if it's their system or it might be. It's probably a sales. It's called Velocify. I don't know if it's probably a sales system that anyone can use, but it's the same type of deal. I pay for it, but it comes from that.
Do you get like addicted to listening to those recordings? Like I'll find myself like at night, like where I just end up pulling all nighter because I'm just it's hard to not, you know what I mean? When it comes to that, sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing.
Yeah, you're like, don't talk. I'm like, don't say a word anymore. Just listen, just wait. And then they're talking. Like I try to figure out what's going on if they're having a tough time closing deals and things, because that kind of business is like, everyone needs auto insurance, and that's high pace. You make them feel good, you save them money, make it quick and easy, and it's done. And you just take care of them, throughout the process. So it's got to be a quick, fast move pace, and you can't be on there, for 45 minutes, unless you're making a really good connection, they're done. But maybe make friends with them after you take the check,
Yeah. Yep. Love it, dude. So then, I know you being a young hustler, are a lot of the people that you hire young hustlers too, or is that not something you care about as long as they have the hustle?
No, well, yeah. Right now it's young guys. Like one guy right now that's starting. He's in boot camp now. He starts. His first day starts in a week from now. He was I knew him from college, and I talked to him and I was watching him. And he was trying to figure out what he wanted to do in his life, and I was watching him. He kind of wasn't really that motivated at the time. He was kind of depressed with what was going on in his life. And I said, listen, just start listening to these videos, listen to this. I was trying to help him out, just get motivated to find him do something. And he started getting real motivated. And I saw him start changing his life around. And I was like, you know what? He's looking for a job. I'm going to give him an opportunity. He wants to hustle. He wants to make money. He wants to work. And he really showed, showed it. He showed it to me, proved it by his actions. I was like, dude, come on in, man. I'll get you going. I gave him a shot. So pretty much everyone's young, right out of school around my age, 27. I want young guys that, say, hey, listen, I don't care about going out anymore. I don't care about, I did that. Now it's time to grow. I need someone that wants to grow within my business and, grow as like a family, a team, people I can trust. So really it's young guys. I mean, if I get some older dude that's like 40 and is a hustler, man, I'll hire him. I don't care. But right now I'm focusing on like just younger guys because it's a kind of a young atmosphere.
Yep. Yeah, I love it, man. Millennials have such a bad rap out there, right? It's like everybody's like, oh, these damn millennials don't want to work. They're lazy. They're unmotivated. And, the vast majority of people that work for me are millennial. Like I'm like the last year of being a millennial before the cutoff, right? But it's like, dude, no, I don't feel that there's a shortage or an abundance of millennials, right? If you set up the right environment and have it set up the right way, what would you say to those that are like millennials have no work ethic, they're lazy, whatever that may be?
So what I'd say, listen, guys, this is how I look at it, right? We're young, man. All these guys that are successful right now are like 60 in my business and 70, 65, 50. They're getting out of bed, like drinking their coffee at like 7 a.m. I'm coming back from the gym at like 5, like sprinting, they're just waking up. So like we have the energy. We have like the tools. We have so much time to be successful. We're like this time right now in our life, like I think in our 20s and our 30s is the time where like you can explode. Like this is the time where like you could take all those crazy chances, all those risks. People, when you're a young guy and you're hustling, or you're a young female, it doesn't matter. People love you because you're hustling. Like, they like you automatically. You're just a young guy, young girl working hard. Like you, right off the bat, you impress them because you're just working hard. So right off the bat, you got that edge, and you got to take advantage of it. Take advantage of the time now, because if you do it now, if you're a millennial, you work really hard now and outwork everybody now. By the time you're 35 years old and you put like 10 years, 12 years in of just complete grinding, you're still young at 35, and you're pretty much built a foundation that's like pretty much unstoppable. So like this is the time to do it. And then when you're like 37, 38, 40, you're kind of, you're the champ.
Yep. No, I love it,
That's
man.
what I would tell, man. This is the time to like get up early, go to bed late, and get it done, and just go after everything.
Yeah. Now it comes back to the saying of, you got to be willing to sacrifice a certain portion of your life, a little portion of your life, and do what others aren't willing to do so you can live the rest of your life like others aren't able to live, and everybody wants to go out there and be a millionaire and whatever, but they're just not willing to put in the hours, the work, the focus, the hustle, and most importantly, the sacrifice. It's like people have all these big goals, but then I'm like, okay, cool. You got this big goal. That's dope. Now let's talk about what you're willing to give up in your life to make that a reality. And people they don't want to do that, right?
They don't want to do it. They don't want to give it up. And like, it's a funny story because like I usually am always positive, right? But when I'm in my car and I'm having a bad day, I just sit there, and like I'll hold my head like this at a red light, and I'll pinch my temple sometimes on a rough day. And I remember my buddy called me up. It was like 10 o'clock at night. I was just getting home. He's like, dude, where are you? I'm like, I'm home. And he's like, dude, I've never seen you like that, dude. I looked over the red light. You had your head down. You were squeezing your head, man. He's like, you really are working hard, man. And I was like, and I don't even realize it. I'm like, yeah, man, I had a tough night. But like, those are the nights where like, it's 10 o'clock at night. You're tired and you got beat up and things are falling off and you're losing things you thought you were gonna have and stuff's just looking bad. And you're just like, you have to just. That's where I think the leveler is where like who are you when like everything's anyone when things are going good and you're riding that wave. Everything's gonna be positive. But who are you when everything's going bad? Like, right. Who are you then? That's really who you are. That's who you are. Like when you're still on that phone, you're still working hard, you're still trying to break through. That's like really what you're made of. So that's really what it comes down to.
Now, I know you talked about before when you were doing the door knocking for the window company, you'd spend your mornings, dude, just watching the tapes, watching the motivational videos and really getting your mind right. And do you still do that today?
Yeah, I do. I still do it today. My fiance wants to kill me. She's like, if you play one more video, she comes in, like turns it off, pulls the plug. I play it all day long. It's like food for my brain. So like I literally play it like as I put my tie on, as I'm getting dressed, brushing my teeth. I play it, and I listen to this really cool It's a really cool channel. It's called Your World Within. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Huh.
It's really good. I listen to him. I wait for a new video to come out every day. If he sees this, awesome. But he does a great job of putting, what your purpose is into perspective. And he comes up with these awesome analogies. And he has like this great music, man. It just pumps me up. And I just play it, man, all day. Like I'll literally be like this. All right, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. I can turn the TV on and listen to like some news, which I haven't turned on like probably a year. Or I can just turn on my phone and go on YouTube and play this. And that's how I think. Like I can either go read that book or I can go watch Shark Tank, So like I try to put everything I can when I'm awake into my brain that kind of keeps me motivated.
Yeah. So outside of Your World Within, man, like what are your, maybe top 3 places that you go, not just for motivation, because you don't strike me as a guy that needs to be motivated. Like you strike me as a guy that you're going to get up at 4 a.m. or whatever, no matter what. So it's not just the motivation, also I'm sure there's a lot of tactical skill set training, dudes like Grant Cardone and that we've had on the show and that do a great job with that. What are like the top 3 places that you go to, or maybe even authors that you choose to listen to?
Well, I've read Grant Cardone's books. They're great. I've read his books. I think really, for me, like the things that help me, kind of where I come up with all my ideas, and sometimes I need to like take a little. I like to like that. What helps me really is going into a situation where I'm pretty uncomfortable and I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you an example. Like when you're new in this business, I'm still pretty new, only 4 years in. There's a lot of things I don't know. I've been in some scary situations, right? So like when someone's making $1 million a year, and I was 24 years old. I mean, the guy said, I sell you $1 million, right? That's insane to me. So you're going in front of someone, he's taking advice from me, And I remember I was like, I got this appointment. It was like referral. Sometimes I make a really good connection with my clients. They always refer me. It's awesome because it's like family, And I think for me, the biggest thing that helps me is that most people that just start will be like, oh, this guy's successful. This guy makes $1 million. This guy makes $2 million. I'm going to bring my manager. I'm just going to sit there in the back and kind of take notes. Or you can go in there, and if you screw it up, you screw it up. But I screwed it up, and I learned from it. I'll make sure I'll never do it again. So for me, what I would do is I get these big cases or these big, these super wealthy clients that most people would be really scared to go into. And my manager would say, hey, do you want me to go with you? I'd say, no, I'm going. I'm going to New York City, and I'm going to go there, and I'm going to go in his office, and it's going down. If I fail. And I think that's what really, that's how it helps me, really. That those are going into things I'm really scared of, not uncomfortable, and going for it. If I fail, but I learned so much from that, and that's how I come back better. So I'm ready for that next client.
Yeah. So, with the internet and Facebook and, everybody's a guru out there today, but you see some of these gurus that just dog on the phone. They're like, oh, the phone doesn't work. The phone's dead. If you're trying to build a sales team around the phone. And I call utter BS to that. The vast majority of appointments that I set are on the phone in my companies. And what would you say to that, man? People that, think that there's a way around the phone.
I would say that there's no way around the phone. You got to get a headset, a Bluetooth, and you got to call because that's the quickest way to get to speak to someone, right? So how are you going to get? You can send mail out, right? But how many times? 80% are going to throw it out. Either you're knocking on their door or everyone's got a cell phone. So if you call them, you're going to get a human. And then you have about a minute to engage them, and then you got to get in front of them. So the phone is everything. The phone is 99% of my business. All day long I'm calling. If I'm not calling, I'm getting referrals. Other than that, every appointment I've ever set, every client I've ever had came from the phone. So it's the phone. It's always the phone. Man, even the best life insurance known to man, right? His name is Ben Feldman. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's like the world's greatest life insurance salesman ever. And they had him come to a conference one time. He was like 90 years old. And they're like, Ben, you're the best of all time. Give us your advice. Like, he literally was the best. His book's on. You can look him up, Ben Feldman. And he comes to the conference, and they're like, what advice do you have? And he just says, pick up the phone. And that's it. That's all he said. But that was the truth. That's all it is. It's just pick up the phone and dial. And that was his advice.
Yeah, no, I love it, dude. Yeah, I mean, I get why people get attracted to people like, oh, you don't have to work the phone, just generate these internet leads, have endless amounts of leads come to you. Why that's attractive to people? Because people hate the phone, because they hate rejection, whatever. But I agree, man, that the phone is far from dead, and at least in my companies, dude, that's where we get shit done, man.
That's it, man. You got to look at it like it's fun. Like everyone out there that's kind of scared, like have a fun time, man. You have like 300 people here to call. Like how many are you going to get in front of? Like that's awesome. Like you're convincing these people that never met you in your life that you're going to get in front of their house. You're going to meet them. Like that's really cool. So have a fun time. Just make it fun. Have fun with them. Talk to them. Like don't be like a robot. Be a human. Everyone's a human. They all put their pants one leg at a time. So I think you just got to look at it like that and have fun. If you're having fun on the phone, you can really bring your appointments up. 100%.
Yep. Love it, dude. So then, I got to imagine, dude, most guys like I meet like you, that, have this massive drive. I mean, they got a pretty big vision for their life, right? And they stay focused on that vision. Cause like you said, we have those bad days, sometimes bad months, sometimes hell, even a bad year, right? But the vision keeps you pushing for that. Like where do you want to take all this? Like, where do you see yourself like long-term, with your vision for you and your life?
So my vision, what I really want to do long-term, right? I want to grow this business huge, right? I want to have people, I don't want to say they're working for me. I want to have them working with me. And I want to have people that are working with me. I want a fun environment. Like I have a basketball hoop up here. It's really small right now. But I want to one day have like a small little basketball court in the corner, and like fun things go around the office. Everyone really young and having fun. I really just have this vision of a big corner office right in the downtown with like my sign up there, man. Just like everyone working hard, everyone having fun. And then, on the weekends, we're all getting together, company vacations, like all these fun things. That's what I really have a vision. And I also have a little side vision of what I want to do. And I want to take all this and build this and enjoy the journey. And then I want to go back, to schools with kids that kind of like me that I could have just fell through the cracks. And it's whole nother story of, how I got to this point and go back and share my story to the kids, with learning disabilities who are dyslexic, who really have a hard time in school and kind of feel like, have no confidence, kind of feel like they're, just because they're not good at school and not smart, they can never make it, and how it has nothing to do with anything. And I just want to show them, I think my motivation is to get to the point where, the proof that none of that matter, all those people that say you can't go to college, you'll never make it, and like prove them all wrong, get to that point, and then go back and just like share it with all the kids that are going through the same thing I was when I was like 14 and 15. I think that's really what helps me see my vision through. And like now I do it. I go to schools, I go to high schools, and I talk to that and colleges, the kids that were in my same shoes. I was just like them then, and I just tell them the journey, the story, like literally word for word, exactly what happened in my life. And I get emails like, Jordan, thanks so much, and they keep in contact with me. It makes me feel so good that they're gonna live up to their true potential, because you can just fall through the cracks and never find it if you just have no belief. So I think I want to get them to believe it. That's my other vision too. I want to do that when I can. I'm doing it a little bit now, but when I can do more, I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I love it. That's powerful, dude. So, Jordan, those that are maybe watching or listening that want to follow you, learn more about you, right? I mean, you've got just insane, awesome energy, right? So if those, if they do want to reach out or again, follow you maybe on social media, or, and this is something I know we already talked about, but it's something that I'm a huge personal believer and a huge fan of, making sure that you do get your life insurance policies in place, protect your family. We always talk in business, you got to protect your assets. Well, your family's your asset, right? You got to go out there and protect your family. So maybe they want to reach out to you to talk more about getting a policy in place. Like, where's the best place to get in touch with you and to follow you?
So I have an Instagram, right? So my Instagram, so the picture, I have dogs. I have a Great Dane and a Bull. I love dogs. So my Instagram picture is a big Great Dane, but my name on Instagram is Chance Timberhill. It's my street name where I grew up on, and it's my first dog's name. That's my Instagram name. So if they want to follow me on Chance Timberhill, that's probably the best place to get me. It's CHANCE, Timber, TIMBERHILL. Or they can just email me at jrt9619@gmail.com. Those are the best places to get me. But I'm on Instagram, and I just post pictures of my dogs all day and just some motivational quotes, But it's the best place to get me. I'm on there.
So you got the Bulldog and you got the Great Dane. So the Great Dane's probably 10 times the size of the Bulldog. Yeah. But who's the alpha?
So the Bulldog is the alpha. So the Great Dane's 10 months. He's 150 pounds.
Damn.
And he's huge. He's huge. His head's up to here. He's a big black and white Harlequin Great Dane. And then the Bulldog's 7 months. He's like 50 pounds, 100 pounds less. And he's in charge. And we go for walks. And I'm telling you, I get the whole crowd. And people come out of restaurants. They pull over. They come over. It's the craziest scene. I mean, I can make a business with these two dogs.
Yeah. Yeah. I had growing up, man, I had, when I was a kid, right? My parents had a Great Dane and a Chihuahua, and the Chihuahua just dominated that Great Dane, dude, right? I mean, the Great Dane's like a mini horse, right?
That's it. So yeah, you know what it is? Because the Great Danes are so such good natured that they can't get mad. So that's what the Chihuahua is like. So, it's like, get out of my way. And the Great Dane would just fall over.
Yeah. Yep. Love it, bro. Love it, dude. So, all right. So, I know you've created a lot of success at a young age, but if you could, right, if you could go back to, let's say, before you went to college, right? Because I know you had a different vision at that time, but if you could go back knowing everything you know now, like the Jordan today could go back to Jordan at 18 years old and have a conversation with yourself and give yourself 2 pieces of advice that you feel would have just, fast forward the trajectory to your success, what would those 2 pieces of advice be?
Yeah. So, if I can go back that far, my first advice I could tell my younger self would be literally, if you want to do something, you work hard enough, anything in this whole world is within reach. I would just make sure I know that at 18, that no matter if I want to go to Harvard, I can get into Harvard. I can do anything that I want if I just put the effort in. And the second advice, I would give myself advice that, that sometimes I would tell myself that you can't have a vision of what's supposed to happen or what you want, your vision of what you think should happen. That vision is not really, what you think is supposed to go as planned is not really ever going to go as planned. So I'll let myself know it's okay to kind of not go as planned, but still work really, really hard. But it's okay not to go on the complete plan that you think you're supposed to go on. So the 2 things I would tell myself at 18 to make sure that, I feel a lot better going into year 19 at that point.
Yeah, love it, man. Powerful stuff, dude. Do you have any regrets? Like, if you could do it over again, would you have even went to college or messed with college?
Well, the thing is, it's a whole backstory. But if I didn't go where I went, I would not be here today. So I almost didn't. To make a long story short, I didn't get any. I got denied by 14 colleges. And no school let me in. I remember I got this letter back, and I opened it on my kitchen table, and I was like, Dad, I don't think I got into this last school. I was banking on this last school because my dad went there, and my uncle went there, and my aunt went there, and I'm like, and I opened it up, and it says you're not getting in, basically. And I said, are you kidding me? I said to my dad, Uncle Jim wrote a letter, and he goes, Jordan, you wouldn't have got in with a letter from the President of the United States, right? So that's why I realized I was in trouble. And then one school who gave me a chance, because I had a 1.7 GPA in high school, and they gave me a chance, and they said, listen, he can come here, but by looking at what he's done, he looks like he can't do it. But we'll give him a chance, but he's got to go to summer school. He's got to prove himself. And if he doesn't make it through here, he can't come. And I remember when I got in there, when I first found that out, I was like, I'm not going to summer school. I'm going to the beach. I'm gonna have a good life with my friends. I'm not going. And I wasn't going to go. And then one day I said, you know what, I'm going to go. And then I just went. And by doing that, because it wasn't it's not school that kind of gets you ready for life. It's not like learning how to write a paper or it's none of that. It's who you become when you go through school, right? So it's who I became. So I never excelled in school. So when I went to this program that this school offered, it helped me figure out how I would kind of learn. And it brought out this success I've never had before within myself. And it just kind of created this confidence I've never had. And then I took that and I got through school, and that's what helped me get to this point. So that was the foundation of my confidence. So if I didn't do that, I definitely would be, I don't know what I would have been doing, but that was the snowball effect, and that was the foundation. So I don't regret going to school, and I really figured out a lot about myself going from school. So really just school in general is great. You learn a little bit, right? But the more you learn about who you are as a person. So that's why I wouldn't regret it. I really have the only regret I have is just not figuring this out sooner, But who can fix that,
Yep. Love it, dude. So, those that are watching, listening to this podcast are here because, they're looking for the motivation, if you will, but also the tactical skill sets to go out there and create the life they know they want and deserve. With that being said, do you have any last words of inspiration or motivation that you'd like to leave them with so they can do exactly that?
Yeah, so I would say anyone that's starting now, it's not any type of entrepreneur, any type of sales job. I think that the key is you have to look at, you have to get in a certain mindset to be, a consistent person. So you have to stay completely consistent, and you got to look at your life and say, okay, everyone in my life, this is my friend, these are my buddies, this is what they do, and look at your whole surrounding and kind of see what you're surrounded by. And sometimes you have to be alone. Maybe all those things are bad. You have to kind of weed out what's kind of weighing you down. You have to figure out where you want to go. And then you have to sometimes say, okay, listen, like this is what I have to do. And, I have to cut this off. I have to stop doing this. I look at my situation, look at their life and like, okay, listen, is there anything good out of this? Like, yes, it's good. Is it like, okay, me, like on a Friday night, is it okay to go out and drink and have fun with your friends? Yeah, that's fine. Anyone can do it, right? But is it going to help me make calls at 9 o'clock in the morning on Saturday morning? No, because I want to be fresh on Saturday morning. So you got to look at the little things like that, because all those little things, every Friday you choose to go to sleep early, wake up really early, and you pound the phone. Those little decisions will add up to big decisions, and then big moves. And then when you get, 4 years in, you create a business. So I think it's the little sacrifices and the little changes in your life. You make those changes and you stay consistent to what your vision is, and you're unstoppable. Whatever you're doing, you just have to do that.
Yeah, no, man, I couldn't agree more, dude. And I love it, bro. And that's such powerful words of advice, dude. It's all those little things that add up. One of my mentors, Darren Hardy, when he goes out and does his speaking events, he'll ask the audience, he'll be like, how many in here have been bitten by an elephant? Right? Of course, nobody raises their hands. But then he goes, how many have been bitten by a mosquito? Everybody raises their hands. He's like, see, in life, it's the little things that bite you. Right? So it's
That's good.
Tiny decisions compounded over time that will turn you into a success or a failure, period. So couldn't agree more, man. And those watching, listen, I know I end every podcast with this, but information without implementation truly is just a start of delusion. Information isn't power. It's taking that information, taking massive action on it that creates the power inside your world so you can create the life you know you want and deserve. And Jordan shared so many amazing pieces of advice that can apply to absolutely every single one of you. Take something that you learn, go out there, implement, take massive action on it. And wherever you're watching or listening to this, we'll have Jordan's info below so you can connect with him on Instagram or shoot him an email. And Jordan, bro, I know how busy you are, dude. It's been awesome having you take time out of your busy day to be here, man. This has been a huge honor, brother.
Thanks, man. Thanks for your time. You too, man.
All right. Sounds good. All right, you guys, we will see you next time.
See you later, dude.